Hey there, welcome to Matt's Garage. Well, I'm going to be vacuuming out the Benz here. I'm just still working on the outer detailing, but it's too hot in the direct sun right now to do any more polishing, so I'm going to vacuum everything, but I also want to vacuum really good in all the crevices of the seats and stuff, because I'm going to be cleaning and conditioning this leather here, and I'll go ahead and show you that entire process as well. It's pretty nasty in here, so I got my work cut out for me, and it's extremely hot out today too. There we go, I just popped open all four doors so I get a bit of a cross breeze while I'm working at least. Well, these back doors just enormous. Now that's the back seat. Now when you're cleaning leather, the most important thing is to go through and you spread all your seams and you get in there with the crevice tool and you vacuum out all those seams. You'll be amazed how much dirt you'll get out of there. I'll try and film me doing this a little here. So that's essentially what I'm doing all along, just spreading the seam, vacuuming the debris out of it, because like see right here where that seam's split and open, that's actually caused by dirt in there. It gets in there and it basically forces the seam apart and eats away at the leather, all that grit and stuff in there. So you want to get that out, and then because the center of this seat is all, you know, vented leather, you want to vacuum all that to make sure there's no grit in all those holes and stuff. Okay, I've got everything vacuumed up in here the best I can, so I'm going to start the wiping process. I think I'll get the dash cleaned up and stuff first, and then I'll move on to the leather cleaning here. See that? Hasn't rained for days and it's all wet under my carpet, and the car had rubber floor mats in it. That water's actually running down the inside the firewall. It's not from wet boots or anything. It's from the drain in here is probably clogged. And then what happens is the water overflows and it comes into the fresh air vent area and enters into the car. So we're going to take that apart and show you how to clean it out. It is pretty bad, this moisture under the carpet, because unfortunately it's on all it's in the back as well. It's wet under this carpet as well. Really wet over on that side. And then if you look right here, oh yeah, it's got some mold growing. So not very good. I'm going to have to find the source of that water really soon and fix that. The products I like to use for the leather cleaning, I use this Meguiar's Gold Class Rich Leather. And then just for the dash and other plastic items and whatnot, the Meguiar's protectant here works really good. The leather cleaner I like to work in with this brush here. This is a real soft brush made for upholstery cleaning. So I work it in really good with that, and then I let it soak for a minute, and then I wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. Here's a little update. I just got everything wiped down plastic and vinyl wise, and it's looking pretty good. I think what I'm going to do with the seats is, because they're so dusty, normally I don't, but I'm going to wet a microfiber rag with the leather cleaner, and I'm just going to do a pre-wipe on all the seats just to get the dust off, and then I'll go ahead and scrub it with the brush, because obviously the less grit and dirt you have on there, the more successful the outcome's going to be. I left my steering wheel as well because it's leather wrapped, so I'll be doing that with the leather cleaner. There's a lot of stuff to wipe in this car, all the overhead consoles and everything. I went through all that, tried to get in all the nooks and crannies really good. Even this little groove around here was all full of dust. Nobody had ever cleaned that in forever, and I'm kind of OCD about that kind of thing. I'm not sure if this is actually a leather in here. I just treated it as vinyl. I think it is just vinyl. I know this is a vinyl cover on here. Just another quick update here after I did that quick wipe down with the leather cleaner. You can see what a great product it is. The seats already look way better, and I was able to get a lot of small blemishes and stuff off of them during just that process. Okay, so we're going to be continuing on here with the cleaning and conditioning of the leather seats here, just using the Meguiar's, and we're just going to be working a small panel at a time with this brush, and then wiping the excess back off with these microfiber cloths. So shake the product really good before you get started. And then what you can do is apply it right to the brush. That's what I like to do, because it kind of keeps it contained. We'll just move those for now. We'll start right back here. It can be a little tricky to get in all the little crevices of the seat there. And you don't want to let the product just dry up on there, because that'll allow all the dirt and stuff that you're getting off to dry back onto the surface. Okay, so we'll wipe off this section now. And the goal is not necessarily to get it right dry again. You want some of the product to stay there, because it is a conditioner as well as a cleaner. You'll notice I normally use like a circular motion, but I also run down the seams. I think that's important to get in the seams really good. That's normally where the seats crack. They dry out and crack, and the dirt gets in there and forces it apart, that kind of thing. So it's important to get your seams clean. I think you can already see the difference between the center of the seat and the sides of the seat. So now we'll do the side panel here. There's a lot of wear on it. We'll see how these areas turn out. The quality of your leather really dictates how it's going to turn out, and of course, being a Mercedes, this is going to be rather good quality leather. You should definitely wear gloves when you're doing this, but it's quite hot out here today, so even if I tried, it wouldn't work. I'd just sweat too much in them. You can see those areas all looked like they were, you know, permanently going to show up in white like that, but when you go over them with the conditioner, it really brings the black back into them, and they don't show up near as much. I'm just going to do around the front and the sides here as well. It can be kind of tough to get down into this side panel area with the big bulky brush, so what I'll do is, after my rag's wet later from wiping off the cleaner repeatedly, I'll come back and do these side panels. Obviously they're not going to be as worn or as weathered down in there, because they never really get any traffic on them. You can see how I'm getting in behind this cording here as well. Just working into all the pores of the leather. I'm just going to go over this panel a second time and see if I can get rid of those cracks any better. It looks much better, doesn't it, guys? They're certainly not mint seats, but they're going to clean up okay. Just look at that, guys. Look at how much dirt came off just one seat. Okay, what I'm going to do now is to spray down the whole seat, just so that it has like another coat on there. I don't normally do this, but this seat's particularly bad, so we'll just kind of leave that on there for a second. Maybe we'll just run around with the brush one more time. It does take a lot of product, I find, to get a consistent look to where it's not blotchy looking. When you see that blotchiness where there's dried areas, it's under conditioned. You have to use more product and really get it to soak into leather, and that's where the brush comes in, because the brush moves it around without wiping it back off, and then the rag is what you use when you've got it all conditioned to wipe the excess off. Also make sure you're wiping it back off evenly, that you're not leaving wet spots, because of course that's going to show as blotchy too. You'll get a shiny spot if you leave it too wet somewhere. That's why you want to wipe it really good and make sure that it's all even and consistent. Well, you can see how beautiful that seat looks now compared to when we started. So I just got to move over to that side now and do that seat. I'm not going to film that. I'll just do an overview after. Well, we're going to do the steering wheel now. I should have actually done it to start with, because you really should avoid sitting in the seats for a while after you condition them, at least a few hours, and let that conditioner absorb in nicely. But what I'll do is I'll just go over this driver's seat again after I'm done the steering wheel here. So same thing, but there's a lot of you know, the sweat off your hands and stuff works down around the stitching, so that's where the brush comes in handy. So same thing, we're going to spray it on the brush, not on the steering wheel, and then we're just going to work it into the steering wheel. If you want to avoid spray going around, just hold your rag on the back side there. And the same thing, you just work a small section at a time. So I'm just going from that spoke to that spoke right now. All that yuckiness is coming loose. See, this brush kind of has a point to it. It works really good for this. It's actually made for cleaning upholstery, like fabric. So it's got really soft bristles, and that's something you want to make sure you don't use too coarse of a bristle and scratch the leather. Okay, now we'll wipe that section off. It's not perfect, guys, but it's looking a lot better. It's a little bit of wear on it with 205,000 kilometers on the car. When I did an autocross event in my PT Cruiser, my 04 PT Cruiser, the gold one I had on the channel, I never had a chance to clean the car up inside before the event, and the steering wheel was all, you know, had all that sweat build up on there, that yucky gunge. And during the event, you know, my hands got so sweaty and gripping the wheel so hard, all that came loose on there, and it was all coming off, like balling up, and it was so gross. At least I did know the car was owned by a female before, and for some reason that helped for me. There we go, that looks much, much better. Okay, well, let's just try and clean this shifter up a little. I'm not sure if this is leather or just rubber or what it is, but I don't think a little of this cleaner is going to hurt it. There we go, far from pristine, but it does look a little better. I bet you guys were thinking, Matt, that's a pretty nice interior there for a cheap car and all, but you still gotta get a CD deck in there. And I thought the same thing when I picked up the car. You know, I never even thought to ask. Such a cheap car, I just assumed I'd have to get another deck for it when I saw that. And then I text the owner, real nice guy, so I texted him to let him know I was home. And he says, oh, by the way, I have that CD face. He says, what's your address? I'll send it to you. So there we go, guys. Got a nice Pioneer deck here, and that was mighty nice of the guy to mail that out at his cost. That looks a little better. All done. Here's your final walk around. I did have to go over this driver's seat a few more times than the rest. It kept absorbing in the conditioner and looking dry, so I just kept adding more until I got that nice sort of sheen to it. That will fade out over the course of the next couple days, and it will end up looking very natural, like it should. Steering wheel's a little rough, but that's to be expected. I've still got to get the carpets back in. I've got them in the shop all clean and dry now. And in the back, you can see it's turned out quite nicely as well. So I do hope you found the video helpful. Thanks a lot for watching Matt's Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.